So I did a chicken salad with a side salad and a fruit salad. And I was going to do a potato salad, but one of the guys said, I will literally kill you today if you try to make a potato salad. I'm getting French fries for this shit.
I had a very good person in my corner that believed in me. And thankfully, after months and months of failure, we got the first client.
There's never been a successful entrepreneur that has built a business by not having to build a business. Like, it just doesn't exist. There's no hunger, no drive. How do you build it? Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the 1% Podcast. I'm your host, Vin, and
I'm Shane.
You know, I wonder if I actually really sound good. Like, do I actually have an announcer voice, or is it just me thinking because I sound really good in my physical space over here. I don't know. I think
sounds like you're fishing for a compliment. I don't know which direction.
No, I'm just curious because I could hear myself. And I'm like, that sounds good.
You don't have a radio voice, you know, but you have, and you don't have a radio face. All right. That should help you out.
You're right. I have a model face.
That whatever you want to say.
Did you hear that thing where they say your modeling face is you smile, you raise your eyebrows, and then you stop smiling? And that's like your model face. So you smile real big. Go ahead, smile real big. No, teethy smile. Yeah. Raise your eyebrows with your smile. Now stop smiling, but keep your eyebrows up. That's your model face.
Oh, man. I never want to see that face again.
Don't you dare start modeling.
Oh, man. That is just that'll keep you up at night.
You know what that looked like? That looked like if you remember those old commercials with pudding. It was like, he stole my pudding. And it's like, how could you tell? It's like, he's got pudding face. Look at him. This is the pudding face. For those of you that don't know or haven't seen that commercial, go Google pudding face.
How could you have a pudding if you don't have any meat?
I don't.
You don't eat your meat. You can't have any pudding. No.
Is that a part of the commercial?
Pink Floyd.
I don't listen to hip hop.
Hip hop. That's funny. Nice. All right. Well, we should probably skip to the topic now at this point.
After what was the topic? Modeling?
Pink Floyd being related to hip hop.
Oh, Pink Floyd's the LGBT triangle, right?
Wow. No.
What? It's got a rainbow on it.
No. You never heard that one?
No.
If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. That's like a famous Pink Floyd saying at the end of their song.
Phenomenal saying. Never heard of it, but big fan now.
Yeah. It's a famous one. Pretty famous.
So what came first, that saying or the pudding face commercials? Because the pudding face commercials were iconic.
Probably Pink Floyd.
I'm gonna guess it was the pudding face commercials.
No.
And then Pink Floyd was telling people how they could get their pudding.
No, absolutely.
And then Bill Cosby was just telling people where his pudding, his stuff. He was giving Rudy the pudding pop.
Oh boy, where's this podcast turning to?
Hopefully some damn viewers.
I mean, if you think of anything, Pink Floyd was formed in 1965, so I'm pretty sure that came before the pudding commercials.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I wasn't around I might have been around when they were invented. Anywho, all right, for those of you that are still here, Shane has a topic for us today. Go ahead, Shane.
So in previous podcasts, we talk about what you need to do to start your business. But what we never really talked about is the mental transition to get there, to get to that point from leaving your 9 to 5. So that's what today's topic is going to be. You know, Vin and I both come from your regular 9 to 5s, from the corporate life. So we're going to share our stories. Well, for me doing the corporate life. So we're going to share our stories and why we finally transitioned. So yeah, I really, Vin's story is pretty great. And to be honest, it's kind of shocking of why you would leave that type of position. Mine is probably more realistic to some of you guys. So I want to start with a good one. And then, hopefully if you're still engaged, you can listen to the, not as exciting one. But
hit them while they're awake and then put them to sleep. I like the tactic.
Amen. Right.
All
I'll
right.
tuck you
Get
in.
ready for some energy and then a nap.
At least mine's going to bring warm milk and cookies. All right.
What kind of cookies?
Chocolate chip, of course.
No.
When
Out.
it comes to sleepy, it's chocolate chip classic with warm
Listen
milk.
to me, you sociopath. It's oatmeal raisin.
Oh,
Okay? That's right.
I actually do like
That's
oatmeal
right.
raisin,
Everybody likes
but
oatmeal
it's not as
raisin.
good as chocolate
No.
chip.
It's definitely better than chocolate chip. Listen, to those of you that made it here, will know if you watch the video. Comment your favorite chocolate chip or oatmeal raisin. We will expect oatmeal raisin because if you do chocolate chip, the only response is I will call you a sociopath. Anyway,
My
so
wife actually hates raisins, and her answer to this, Natalie, respond, is oatmeal chocolate chip.
so what's it like dating a sociopath? Is it
Well, since
fun?
we're technically both sociopaths, I guess it's doable. It's manageable.
See, that makes sense. You cancel each other out.
Right.
I like it. Excellent. So for those of you that are wondering, if you meet a sociopath, just become one and you guys won't have any issues.
That's
All
how
right.
sociopaths are determined nowadays, are by cookie selections.
Mostly, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good to
Prefers
know.
chocolate chip. Chocolate chips anyway. Okay.
Yeah,
Doesn't
you can
matter.
fight a
No.
giraffe.
So let's talk about it. Shane, you kind of remind me of this guy right now. I like chocolate chip.
I mean, he reminds me of the model face that I did earlier.
Oh yeah, it kind of looks like that too. That's the face you make when you eat your chocolate chips.
Oh, boy.
All right, so let's talk about it. My transition, I had 3 careers in 3 years. And boy, howdy, was it a good time. So I was a psychotherapist, and then I felt like it was kind of bullshit, and I stopped doing it. And, well, I had an option. I had an option because I took the test to become a firefighter, so I became a firefighter for a year. I did that during COVID and the protests and the riots. And they were definitely riots for anybody that wants to debate that.
What year
But
was this?
oh yeah, this was actually legitimately as COVID was starting and nobody knew what it was. So what
So
was that?
2019?
2021? No,
2019.
was it? Was it
2019
really?
is when COVID started. Yeah, it was like May.
Really?
It's like May 2019.
Wow, it's that long ago. Okay, 2019. So yeah, it was about 2019. I was 28 years old, and I finally got called to become a firefighter. I was test number. Sorry, not the test number. I had 103 on my test, and then I was number 1217. So what that means is they take about 500 or 600 people per class, and like that's how many they typically will kind of go through to get their class of about 300 and something. So I was in the second class. So I finally got called, and I was like, damn, I guess I'll try it. And I was building sort of a coaching business on the side. I was doing it on weekends. I didn't take my clients in case my old employer's listening. They asked me if they could come with me, and I said yes. So I was doing that on the weekends, and I was in the fire academy on the weekdays. I was not, before anybody wants to call me out for anything, I was not a spectacular firefighter in the academy. I was just moved in with my girlfriend. We were in a brand new relationship. We fought a lot, barely slept. Then I was working on building my business on the weekends, and I was not spending time studying and doing the extracurriculars because I was just burnt freaking out, man. Trying to build a business while going through an academy, while dating a girl who's culturally different and fighting with me every night. So fire academy is one of the hardest experiences of my life. Anywho, I made it. We made it. We graduated early because of COVID. We got a wartime graduation, which was something that hadn't happened since 9/11. And then we're out in the field. And honestly, I liked it. It was a really cool job. There is nothing cooler than being a firefighter. You will never be more of a cowboy than getting geared up as your engine races to a fire, lights blaring, and you're just like, putting all the stuff on. Because nobody gets dressed before they get on the rig. You get dressed in the rig. So you're just like flying, like putting your stuff on, hoping by the time you get there, you're ready. And it was a really exciting job. I remember my first week on the job, I had a one day with back-to-back fires. That was really, really freaking something, man. The guys actually called me a black cloud because they were like, dude, like we haven't had some fires in a little bit, and this is your first week here, and now we have multiple fires. was like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like a bad thing. And, which is kind of the funny thing, right? Like as a firefighter, it's like, no, you kind of want fire. So you have like the thing to do that you signed up for. But obviously it's not good for other people. And their perspective is not good either. Like nobody's that sees their house on fire with all of their worldly possessions burning is going to be happy to see you pull up excited about it. Right. So it's not a good thing. And don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not like everybody's like giddy, like, oh, we got a fire. It's like, oh, wow, like this is the thing we train for. Like, this is what we're really putting our skills to the test. Like, this is our moment, you know? So the fires are pretty significant because they really give us that opportunity. So did that for a good bit. And I don't know. It was probably one of the more fulfilling jobs that I've done. And there's a lot of camaraderie in the house, and it was a really cool experience. But I think the biggest thing was that I just felt like, to some degree, it was too hard to do both. And people always ask me, like, couldn't you do both? Couldn't you do your business and be a firefighter? And the answer was like, yes, but also no. And I tell people that the reason it was a yes and a no is because I definitely could have. I could keep my business somewhat tame. I could just do it on the days that I have off and not take it too seriously. And honestly, I could be comfortable getting a safe paycheck that I know I'm going to get every single 2 weeks, biweekly. And so it was a big debate for me. But the thing that really pushed me over the edge with understanding I probably needed to leave and become an entrepreneur was the fact that I felt like I wasn't able to give anyone my all. You see, I've come to believe that actually, this isn't even something I've come to believe. This is something I've always believed because my mom instilled it. It's one of my mom's quotes that I have on my quote board. And my mom always said to me, if you're not going to give something your 100%, it's like not doing it at all. And I had thought about the fact that I wasn't giving either of them my 100%. I wasn't seeing clients and giving them my 100, and I wasn't being a 100% probie in the firehouse. Because the reality is the probie, like, you're expected to go in last minute. You're supposed to drop everything and come in. And I wasn't that guy. Like, I would do my best to really do that. And I would cancel on clients last minute, and I'd feel like crap about it. But I got to a point where I was like, I'm not canceling on my clients anymore. I don't care what you guys think of me, because my clients are more important. Like, these are people that are depending on me. These are people that signed up with me. These are people that, like, they're trusting me with their mental health, their livelihoods, their well-beings, their hope for a better future. That's not something I'm going to throw away because you stayed out too late and don't want to come into your morning tour. Screw that. So I realized when I was choosing entrepreneurship, well, maybe not entrepreneurship at the time, but I was choosing my part-time side thing over the full thing that I'm supposed to be committed to. It really gave me a wake-up call of like, you need to quit. And that was a really hard decision for me. It being able to resign from a job that's arguably the most competitive job in all of New York. The fire department's the number one fire department, or FDNY, New York department, is the number one fire department in the world, the most aggressive fire department. And it is like, I think there's somewhere around 80 to 90,000 applicants every 4 years. And only about 5,000 people will get called every 4 years to become a firefighter. So you're highly unlikely to become a firefighter. And it was kind of funny because, one, it was scary as hell. I didn't know how to resign from a job and say goodbye to everything that I've worked so hard to achieve. So I think I reprinted the resignation letter about 5 to 6 times before I finally handed it in. And here's a fun one. I went to a chief and I said, hey, I need to talk to you. And he goes, yeah, sure. What's up? I said, I'm going to resign. He's like, I handed him the paper. And he's like, wait, you're serious? I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to resign. He's like, is somebody bothering you? I was like, no. He's like, are you in trouble? I was like, no. He's like, you about to be in trouble? Because we could probably help you. I was like, no, man, I'm good. I was like, I'm going to go become an entrepreneur. So he probably was like, oh, you're going to go be unemployed in your mom's basement. I was like, yes, exactly. But little did he know it was my upstairs bedroom. I didn't have to sleep in the basement. So it was funny because people don't resign from the fire department. Once you get the job, that's your job for life. It's one of the best jobs in New York City. You get you get a lot of perks, a lot of perks for being a firefighter. And I remember he said, all right, listen, I have to call somebody. I don't even know what to do with this. I've never even seen a letter of resignation. He's like, and just to be clear, he's like, you're very serious about this, right? He's like, because nobody resigns from this job. It's like, it's less than 1% of 1% of 1% of 1% of people resign from this job. And usually those are the people that are going to get fired because they've done something really, really bad.
Right.
And there's even very few of those people. And I said, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure, man. I mean, this is a legit resignation letter. I'm like, I'm ready to do it. And he goes, okay, well, I got to call someone and I'll get back to you. I said, okay. Like the whole day goes by and he finally calls me back to the office. He's like, all right, I had to speak to like 4 different chiefs and I finally found a guy that's seen one of these. So they figured out what to do with it. They submitted it. I had about 2 weeks left. And then it was pretty funny because we tried to prank some of the guys in the house. And as a probie, you have to wear the uniform to the T. But once you're off probation, you could kind of like untuck your shirt. You could wear non-standard boots and things like that. So I remember once my resignation was final and a few of my close friends in the house knew that I was resigning, I stopped dressing like a probie. Like I was like, led my whole uniform out. I was wearing sneakers. Some of the senior guys were pissed at me. They're like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? I was like, just chilling. And then you're not allowed to sit as a probie. And you're not allowed to be on your phone. So you know what I did with my untucked uniform sneakers? I got on my phone and sat down. And people were like flabbergasted. They're like, this piece of shit, what are you doing? So I had to later explain afterwards. And then word got around and nobody expected it anymore. But I did one last thing to make my mark in the fire department. Now, the guys are notorious for cooking meals, things that they might find delicious, like, I don't know, fried chicken, cheeseburgers, whatever the case. I had a thing for salads. I really like salads. So some of the guys nicknamed me Vinny Salads in the firehouse. But they were always complaining that I made salads because they didn't want to eat salads at the house. And so I thought to myself, hey, it's my last day. Can I make the meal today? So the guy's like, sure. So I did a chicken salad with a side salad and a fruit salad. And I was going to do a potato salad, but one of the guys said, I will literally kill you today if you try to make a potato salad. I'm getting French fries for this shit. So I made the guys a 3 salad meal. And then to make it, I thought this would be really fun. I paid for the whole thing. So I bought food for like, I think in my house, we had like 20 something guys. So I paid for everyone's meal, which means they all had to thank me. Mm-hmm. So
thank you for the salads.
Thank you. So Vinny Salads went out of the fire department making 3 different salads and making them all thank him for it.
That's how Vinny Salads goes.
That's how it goes, baby. So I mean, so I did it, and then I transitioned out, and that was life as we knew it. Now, actually, the funny thing was, and this was the last piece of the story, I actually was still scared. I tried before I actually resigned. I tried to take a 1-year leave of absence. Shane, I don't even know if you know this. I don't know if I ever told you. I wasn't 100% committed to becoming an entrepreneur. I was still scared. And I asked the captain, I said, can I take a leave of absence for a year? I know you guys offer it in the department. So he said, sure, no problem. But again, a leave of absence isn't a very common thing because it's unpaid. So most people will not do a year-long leave of absence. So he said, sure, that should be no problem. We submitted the paperwork. Everything was good to go. I get a call about a week later, and he goes, hey, man, I hate to tell you this. You can't have a leave of absence. You're still a probie. I said, what? He's like, yeah. I was like, but I just told everybody I'm leaving. I bought salad. And he goes, yeah. Be that as it may, you are ineligible for a leave of absence. I was like, oh shit, so what do I do? He's like, well, you could take a mental health leave for maybe a week or 2, figure your stuff out, and then, you got to come back to the fire department or you got to resign. So I was like, oh my God. And I did need the mental health time because I actually was starting to have a mental breakdown because I wasn't prepared.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah, I took my mental health. So now I have my mental health leave and I'm having the most severe anxiety It's bad, man. But I was trying to do what I could to stay focused. I remember I started painting the apartment I lived in. It wasn't my house. It was an apartment I rented. And I decided to paint all the walls. I was like doing a whole bunch of work. I was like, and the guys from the firehouse were calling. They're like, "When are you coming back?" And then they were having fun. They're like, "Yeah, we like you more now that you're not a probie." I mean, I still was, but they're like, "Oh, since you're not here, you're not a probie." And I remember I was like, "Yeah," I was like, I'm not sure I'm coming back." And they're like, "You have to come back. What are you gonna do?" I was like, entrepreneurship, man." So it was a really, really scary transition. And I remember the final day came where they said, "Hey, we need your answer. Your your last day of mental health leave is here. You can't take any more mental health days. You're all done. What are you gonna do?" And I said, "Okay, following through with my resignation." And and that was it. I mean, I looked back a lot. I would like to say I never looked back, but I looked back a lot, especially when entrepreneurship was rough. I was like, "Oh, maybe I could still get my job as a firefighter back." Like I know that they've done that before. I know that they'll just put me back in for like a week or two training in the academy, and then I could go back out and get in the house again, and or maybe I could go become a therapist again. And I was scared as hell a lot of the time, but there were many things that helped keep me grounded. But I don't want to dominate this part of this anymore. I will throw the mic over to Shane.
Well, that was, I mean, I don't think I've ever heard that full story before. So yours is definitely, I feel like you were almost kind of thrown into it, right? With like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like my story is definitely both feet in, and it's scary, but in like, oh crap, what am I going to do? Like type of way. Yours is, well, I guess let me just start. I didn't get any cool nicknames, by the way. I like Vinny salads. I may keep that one here, even though all the times I've eaten out with Vin, I don't think any of them have been salads.
Well, I wasn't cooking. If you come over my house, I'll make you a phenomenal salad. We'll have potato salad with chicken salad and a side salad and a fruit salad for
Fruit
dessert.
salad, as long
Yeah,
as we
it'll
get
be
fruit
phenomenal.
salad in there too.
Yeah.
Okay, so the topic here is the mental transition, right? And how do we mentally decide to give up our corporate job and go into entrepreneurship and become a business owner and start down that journey? So I was lost, just like probably many of you guys are, whatever it may be. I was in different sales jobs. And when I left my current sales job, I wanted to do something else. And this is when unemployment was paying like, I think it was like $450 a week, which was decent money. And this is back in 2010. So I took it. I took a year off, and then that year went by quick. Guess what I was doing for that year? Playing video games. Playing video games for that entire year, collecting unemployment, not thinking about where anything was going to come next. All I cared about was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Damn, that sounds great, man.
Name drop right there. And
That
Halo.
sounds so good.
And Halo back in the day. So I decided that I saw an ad on TV, and that I was going to go to culinary school and get my culinary degree. I did that. I got my degree. I actually got flown out to New York to compete in a competition called Chopped.
And you didn't hang out with me?
And I didn't know Vin at the time. And
He's full of crap. He had a whole premonition of me and never acted on it.
so this was like 2012 when Vin was a toddler, right?
Excuse me. I was in my maybe sophomore year of college. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a couple years older than Vin, if you guys couldn't tell already. But
oh, they could tell.
So I won that. I ended up getting some tuition paid for from my school. I ended up working for who is now a Michelin rated chef. He was an Irish dick, but man, was he good. He was a phenomenal chef, phenomenal cook, terrible leader. But that's usually how it goes. So I did that for about 18 years, and you ready for this? I was getting paid $14.50 an hour. And I asked after about a year, a little over a year, 14, 15 months, whatever it may be, for a pay raise. and I wanted to be put at $17 an hour, which at that time was rated for the sous chef level. So my chef brought me in, and my sous chef was there at the time. And the chef looks directly at my sous chef and says, do you think that Shane is good enough job to getting promoted to sous chef level to help you out? And he didn't have my back. He went, no. And I said, I'm the best chef that you got here. And he's like, no, you're not. And I said, okay, then I quit. And I left. I didn't put my 2 weeks in or anything like that. I quit. So after that, I went to Solar City that actually just got bought by Tesla. And I met a buddy there. And he was also a sales rep for Tesla. We were selling, Solar City. We were selling solar panels. And my buddy said, hey, I'm going to start out this marketing company. Do you want to do it? You're really good at sales. If you do all the sales side, I will do all the marketing, and we'll just figure this out together. I got this cool course that I want to buy. So I talked to my girlfriend at the time, and I said, look, this is the opportunity. However, I don't think we're going to make any money. And we talked about it, and we listed all the pros and cons. And I said, look, I'm tired of working dead-end jobs. I'm tired of working for somebody else. I'm tired of working for somebody else and making them money. And I finally decided, she's like, look, whatever you do, I will support you. And it was rough. It was rough for about 2 years. My wife is a second grade school teacher. I don't know if you've heard in the news, for the last 100 years, school teachers don't make that much money. And she supported this family for a long time. She was the major breadwinner for a long time, for the majority of actually our relationship, compared to the last, 4 or 5 years. And we did not make a red cent then for 3 months. I was cold calling. I was cold emailing. I was doing everything myself. And I had the same type of mental hurdles and hiccups that, I don't know how much longer I can, put this. I really need, to put some money. I really need to start putting my fair share into this. And this was before kids. So this is really what I want you guys to understand. I think having kids is a little bit different. I think it's going to be more mental strain where you have to put food on the table if you have to. If you're the major breadwinner or whatever, if you're the supporter, you have to put bread on the table. Your kids come first. And then you just have to do what you got to do to become what you want to be. And it's just going to take extra work. Thankfully, at that time, we didn't have kids. And I went to my wife, who is, if you've listened along for all these other podcasts, a very strong, independent woman, but more importantly, a very big supporter of me. And I owe all of my success, my everything, to her allowing me to go through this. And I think having that strong type of partner and that foundation was able to allow me to support this. Now, the big question that I have, and knowing me, would I have done this if I didn't have her? Yes, but I would have gone down that road of working that 8 to 5 job and running this, as we hear all the time. I hear constantly from clients, from coaching clients, same thing with Vin. You have to put in the work. If you have an 8 to 5, guess what? Your next thing is going to be from 5 to 10, 5 to 9. If you have kids, it's going to be tougher. You got to wait till after they go to bed. But if you want it bad enough, and you're going to say it out loud and say it to the world that this is what I want and this is what I'm going to get, and you put goals and milestones in place to achieve that, you're going to get it. But people give up because they're afraid, right? I had a very good person in my corner that believed in me. And thankfully, after months and months of failure, we got the first client, then the second, then the third, then the fourth. Then we just kept growing from there. And then sold that business, opened up the VA group, and now we're a whole different ball game. We own the ball field. But anyways, hopefully my story, Vin's story, is able to give you, either some peace of mind, some guidance to what you're currently going through, what you're currently dealing with. I really strongly recommend that if you're struggling right now, which Vin and I have both been in that corner, is to lay everything down, find out what you need to do, and try, and try, and try, and try. Because It's funny. The smarter I work, the more successful I become. Used to be the harder I work, but I always preach about working smarter, not harder.
Yes. After Shane did all of those cold calls and cold emails and cold messages, he's now like, I will delegate all of this forever and always. Shane
Well,
got PTSD from work.
I was telling them when we first got on that I'm re-listening. Do audiobooks. I'm re-listening to 4 Hour Work Week, and it's a great, phenomenal audiobook. And the biggest thing is to not become the person who wears all the hats. It's the one of the great messages there is to find somebody who can be you, and then essentially you kind of just go downhill from there. Which it's funny, Vin knows who my right hand woman is for my organization for the VA group, and then I have 10 other directors that oversee their managers and managers that oversee their employees, and that's how it needs to be ran. I just can't do it all myself. Did I? Yes, and that's why. But once you do it, and I love talking about delegation. I could talk about that till I'm blue in the face.
All right.
Once you have a process that has been perfected, what do? You delegate it. You let somebody else see it, but more importantly, now you have eyes on top of it. Now you can see what needs to be fixed from a bird's eye view.
Shane loves his delegation, but I will say Shane's delegation has rubbed off on me because now a lot of the times when clients hire me, I actually teach them how to delegate, and that's how I make a lot more money because they need that because I mean, let's be honest, you get into business so you could work less and make more money. If you can't delegate, you can't do that. Now, the funny thing about starting in entrepreneurship, though, is typically you are doing most of the things. I think that's what makes entrepreneurship so hard at the start is you might not even fully know what your skill set is. You might not even fully know what you're great at or capable of doing, but you're going to have to do all of it, and you're going to have to kind of see how it goes.
But do you know what that is, though? It's just one word, guys. It's work.
Chutzpah.
Work. Guess what? If you're afraid of work, guess what you have to do if you don't succeed for yourself? You got to go do work for somebody else.
Man sounding like Rihanna. You got to work.
Amen. She's got it. She knows what to do.
Shane wants to see you do it. Work.
Amen.
But I think this is the biggest thing is the premise of this. We told our stories, but the biggest premise here is like what it takes to really transition. And I don't know if there is a right answer. I think what it takes to really transition is to understand that you're finally betting on yourself. And I think that that's probably the scariest thing for most people because most people have never really bet on themselves. I mean, hell, we were talking about it in a previous episode where if you're a kid and you're like, Mommy, Daddy, look, and your mom and dad's like, wow, I'm so proud of you. That looks amazing. And they just give you all this crappy praise. Like it's praise, but it's crappy because it's really teaching you to validate yourself off others. Most parents actually do that because subconsciously, like we think it's the good thing. Like tell your kid their art's amazing. Tell your kid they did great, even if they sucked and didn't do great. Don't ask your kid if they're proud of themselves. Just tell them how awesome they are. My mom did a lot of that. My mom was a great mom in the ways that she was a mom. However, she did a lot of like, my son's natural. He's beautiful. He's intelligent. He's smart. He's this, he's that. So now that paired with an inferiority complex with shattered self-esteem from being this kid that was bullied my whole life, finally willing to try and take a bet on myself is the scariest thing I could have done because I've never bet on myself. And quite frankly, I didn't even know what that would look like. So it becomes very, very scary. But, it's really about being willing to do that, being willing to sit with the scariness of it because the obstacle is the way. All of the things that you want to achieve in your life are right on the other side of the things you're most scared of doing. The things that you don't want to do, the things that you don't think will be easy. And you're right, they won't be, but they will be fulfilling and worthwhile. So I guess my biggest thing that I would say is you have to be willing to burn your boats. You have to be willing to go for it, go all in. And when people had asked me, they're like, can't you do both? Can't you be a firefighter and build your business? The only answer I had was this. The difference of me being a firefighter and building my business or resigning from the fire department and building my business was this one single distinction. Staying as a firefighter and doing my business on the side would tell me that I think I have what it takes to build the business. Resigning from the fire department and going all in on myself means I know I have what it takes to build my business. And there's a very different feel and a different look of what it is to think and what it is to know. And if you could truly know that you'll be capable, that you'll figure it out, that you'll handle it, or whatever the case might be, you might be ready to become an entrepreneur. But if there is still this thinking, like maybe I could do it, maybe I could, you're not ready. Don't do it. Don't transition. Not yet. Transition when you're ready to say, I will burn all my boats and I will take the island because I have no other choice. For me, entrepreneurship had to work. And don't get me wrong, there was a lot of moments where it wasn't. There was a lot of moments where I was in debt, a lot of moments where crap was not going well. But to Shane's point, I also had my girl who was covering me. You know, she paid my credit cards at some points. She stopped me from going back to a 9-to-5 job. I remember I was crying on the toilet one day. I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, I'm failing. It's not working. I'm not making money. I can't get clients. I don't know. It's just not working. Should I try and go back to being a firefighter, or should I try and get a therapist job again? And she's just like, oh, baby. She wiped my tears. She picked my head up, both her hands, and she just goes, baby, you hated those jobs. Don't do that. I was like, but I'm not making money. I don't know what to do. I'm in debt. You're paying my credit cards. She's like, it's okay. You'll figure it out. Like, I believe in you. You can do it. And I'm still working. It's fine. And, I mean, I figured it out. I think I'm still figuring it out. I don't know if I've had it figured out, but to that point, you know, that was 3-4 years ago almost. And we're here. So as long as you're willing to figure it out, you can become an entrepreneur. And that's the big thing that you need to have in your mind, is that you will figure it out. And if you don't know if you're going to be capable of figuring it out, do not transition to entrepreneurship yet, because you're not ready.
Both feet in, absolutely. Even if it's another job that you're doing the 8-to-5, you have to put both feet in. If you put one foot in, one foot out, you're always going to have that. And then you can always take it out too. Oh, you know what? I'm glad I still have this.
Well, that was the thing too. If I was still a firefighter, I didn't have to work. Like, the coaching income was just extra money. I knew I was guaranteed a certain amount every month. And then if I really needed more money, I didn't have to get coaching clients. I could have just worked overtime. So that's the reality too. There was a level of complacency to holding the fire department job, right? Like, I didn't need to make entrepreneurship work. I didn't. Who cares if I make entrepreneurship work? I don't need to. I could just work an extra tour, get some overtime. I can make a few extra $100 and I don't have to go figure out how to do it. I could just take what's available to me. And I realized that because, to Shane's point, where he was just hanging around playing Call of Duty and crap, I realized too that there were a few moments where I was getting really complacent. I was like, all right, I have like 10 coaching clients, which wasn't bad. It was a few, you know, small, maybe it's like 2,000 a month or so. It's about the same that I was making as a firefighter, which was also about like $2,000 a month, right? So making like 4,000 a month or so, and I was okay. Like, I had my girl, she had an income, you know, between the two of us, we were fine. Surprisingly, right? Like, I think our income combined was probably like 7,000 or 6,000 or whatever it was. We're like, oh, that's fine. And I was like, cool, I'm just gonna play video games. I was playing World of Warcraft and just chilling and not doing crap. And we would stay up late and we'd watch movies and we'd eat junk food, and like, I was just being a lazy crap. And I was building my business part-time, if even at all. And I was doing firefighting. There was no urgency, there was no need, there was no desire. I didn't have to. And I think there's a part of that. Like, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you need to have a have to. You need to be hungry to a degree. You need to be like, this is going to be life or death for me. Like, I'm either going to have a thriving business or I'm going to die in a gutter. There can't be an in between. There can't be like, I'll be fine because I don't really need the business. You'll never build a business that way. You just won't. There's never been a successful entrepreneur that has built a business by not having to build a business. Like, it just doesn't exist. There's no hunger, no drive. How do you build it?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely don't have what it takes to eat that many salads and be a firefighter, but I'm glad.
What if you ate that many salads?
I'd probably look as good as you do. But anyways, we're going to wrap things up here, guys. We appreciate it. You know, if you do have any questions or concerns, please reach out to us. If you have any pieces of advice, please reach out to us. We love hearing back from you guys. We're starting to get some comments and some messages, so we appreciate it. We definitely do this because we enjoy it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well and learning some cool things. And we will see you on the next one. sure I missed something here.
Always like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Tell us what you like. Tell us about your transition if you did it. Not talking about the sexual one, talking about the
I knew that
one.
was good.
Yeah, you damn right. I set it up. Zingers. Anyway, I'm Vin. That's my man, Sheenus. And we appreciate you showing up. Join us again for our next episode of the 1% Podcast. See you soon.
All right, Vinny Salads.